Alright, so hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're going to take a quick look at what is hands down the most interesting weapon that was released with the Chimera update, the Paracesis Sentient Slayer. Now first things first, you get the blueprint for this puppy by finishing the Chimera prologue quest, which I'm not going to spoil. And the weapon is actually quite expensive. It takes 30,000 credits, 1,000 ducats, 1 gram, 5 Eidolon shards and 15 Orokin cells. It is very much worth it though, because the weapon is kind of strong and also pretty damn unique. It is a heavy blade that requires you to be at least Mastery rank 10 to use it, and it does 144 damage per hit, which is the second highest damage of all the heavy blades behind Galatine Prime and Gram Prime. The damage distribution is pretty good as well. You have 100.8 as slash, 31.7 as impact and 11.5 as puncture. It has a very good 31% crit chance with an above average 2.6 times crit multiplier and an okay-ish 12% status chance. It also comes with a somewhat average attack speed for a heavy blade of 0.917, and it doesn't have any polarities to begin with, it just has a D in the stance slot. The most interesting thing about this weapon though is that it gains additional power as you put more Forma onto it up to a maximum of 5, at which point you'll be able to push the weapon up to rank 40 rather than the standard 30. You will get 60% extra damage versus sentient units, this does include the Eidolons, and it will also reset sentient damage adaptation with each hit. And the way it works is that each Forma you put onto the weapon will give it 2 additional ranks, and those ranks will give you the sentient damage, and once you get it to 5 Forma and you fully level it up, you will get the full sentient damage bonus as well as the adaptation reset. Now, since you have to overforma the weapon so much to get all the bonuses, you actually have a lot of flexibility when it comes to the builds. So instead of just showing you one build, I'm going to show you 3 that are all completely different and excel at different types of content. And the best thing about this is that since we've overformatted the weapon so much to get the bonuses, you can actually fit all 3 of the builds onto the weapon into different configurations and switch between them at will. So build numero uno is the Eidolon Slayer. This one is designed to just trash Eidolons, and it's pretty good for normal sentients too. The stance we're going to use here is Cleaving Whirlwind with the pulse combo, which has by far the best DPS for heavy blades, and then we're going to slap on Sacrificial Pressure for melee damage and sentient damage, as well as Sacrificial Steel for crit chance and sentient damage. We're gonna follow that up with Blood Rush, so we get almost instant red crits as we start hitting enemies, and Organ Shatter, which is gonna push the crit damage up to 4.9. Then we're gonna add Berserker and Bright Fury, so we have a lot of attack speed and we can just melt the Eidolons, and we're gonna finish it off with Molten Impact and Shocking Touch for Radiation, which is what the Eidolons are weak to. Now for the moment, this setup does not need any combo duration because you won't be able to sustain your combo between the different Eidolon phases anyway. But once we inevitably get to fight a full-on sentient faction, combo duration is going to be really good. Now as you saw already, it is actually possible to destroy the Eidolon's knee synovia if you jump on just right. However, the same cannot be said for the shoulder ones, or at least I didn't manage to do it. I even got the Eidolon stuck so he wouldn't move to make it easier for me, and I just wasn't able to jump on in a way that would allow me to cleave the shoulder. But the damage is actually quite insane, especially in the last phase where you can just cleave the Eidolon's leg, even on a frame like Inaros where I only had Steel Charge and no outside damage buffs. I mean, you can just see it right here, 20k a pop, that's like fully juiced up Lanka level of damage. And before someone says, well actually my Lanka hits for, I don't care, okay? This is Inaros we're talking about. I don't have Rhino Roar, I don't have Chroma buffs, nothing. This is just raw damage with Steel Charge. And it's just ridiculous. Moving on to build numero dos, which is sort of an endgamey viral slash type setup. The stance we're going to use is once again Cleaving Whirlwind because the Rufflecopter combo just does way too much damage and is too good for proccing status. Then we're going to slap on Prime Pressure Point for damage, Berserker for attack speed, Blood Rush and Weeping Wound, so we stack both crit and status as we build up our combo counter, and we're going to follow that up with Organ Shatter to once again get that juicy crit multi. We're then gonna put on Drifting Contact for some combo duration and a little bit of status, and we're gonna finish it off with Virulent Scourge and Vicious Frost for even more status and viral damage. Now this is, as I've said already, sort of an endgamey type setup that scales really well, but it has far more ramp up time than the first one. And you're gonna have to get to about 2.5 times, 3 times combo multiplier before it starts to feel really good. And it's mostly because, you don't have amazing crit and status to begin with, which also means that it's not great for a Simulacrum showcase because, you go from a cold start there. But once again, out of the 3 builds that I'm showing you today, this one is the strongest because it just scales the best when it comes to high level enemies. It's definitely not the most fun though, which is to be expected from sort of a min-maxy type setup. The range isn't great and the attack speed could be a little bit better too. But that's sort of the trade-off with high-end damage that scales really well. You have to sacrifice some utility and a little bit of fun. And finally, we have build numero 3, which is my mayhem setup that I absolutely adore on heavy blades. And this build revolves around Tempo Royale, more specifically the block combo on Tempo Royale. So we're obviously going to use the Tempo Royale stance. Then we're going to go with Prime Pressure Point for damage, Primed Reach for some range, which we're going to follow up with Blood Rise so we get some crit chance as we build up our combo counter, and once again Organ Chatter for crit damage. Then we want a lot of attack speed, so we're going to go with Primed Fury and Berserker, and we're going to top it all off with Primed Fever Strike and Shocking Touch for corrosive damage. And this setup is just supposed to be a whole lot of fun, which is exactly what it is. The damage actually starts off pretty strong, stronger than the previous setup, but it doesn't scale particularly well and it will fall off pretty fast. Especially since I decided to sacrifice combo duration to add in a little bit more fun to the build, though that being said, you could actually run Naramon and get sort of pseudo combo duration there. The reason I decided to sacrifice combo duration, by the way, is because you don't need it for lower levels, and once we get to higher levels, the damage starts to fall off and we run into a pretty big issue. And it's the same issue that was plaguing the Grand Prime. It's the new slams, which are just stupid. Because the new slams bounce the enemy so high into the air that if you're doing the block combo with Tempo Royale, you will slam the ground, the enemies will fly up, and then the forward movement from the combo will make you go underneath the enemies and they will land behind you. So what you end up doing is just going back and forth, bouncing enemies up and down, and not doing any damage in the process. So yeah, even if you do want to scale this setup properly, once you inevitably stop one or two shooting the enemies, it's over. It just makes me sad because it's my favorite heavy blade setup, it's so much fun, and the last two heavy blades can't run it because of this stupid slam, and I really hope it's just something they thought would be cool so they added it in, rather than it being something that we might get with Melee 3.0. But anyway, what do I actually think about this weapon? Well, aside from the stupid slam thing, god damn it, I think it's actually really good. And I personally think it's worth the investment, especially if you like hunting eidolons, because as you saw, it shreds them to pieces. So I am gonna give it a thumbs up, and I would highly recommend you unlock its full potential if of course you have the time and Forma. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.